dropping those atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was a war crime. It would be a poor thing to be an atom in a universe without physicists, and physicists are made of atoms. A physicist is an atom's way of knowing about atoms. A physicist is an atom's way of knowing about atoms. I have lived much of my life among molecules. They are good company. Civilization will end within 15 or 30 years unless immediate action is taken against problems facing mankind. Most modern biologists, having reviewed with satisfaction the downfall of the spontaneous generation hypothesis, yet unwilling to accept the alternative belief in special creation, are left with nothing. I do not want to believe in God. Therefore I choose to believe in that which I know is scientifically impossible, spontaneous generation leading to evolution. The great questions are those an intelligent child asks and, getting no answers, stops asking. Every creature alive on the earth today represents an unbroken line of life that stretches back to the first primitive organism to appear on this planet, and that is about 3 billion years. Nuclear weapons offer us nothing but a balance of terror, and a balance of terror is still terror. I tell my students to try early in life to find an unattainable objective. We living things are a late outgrowth of the metabolism of our galaxy. The carbon that enters into our composition was cooked in a remote past in a dying star. The waters of ancient seas set the pattern of ions in our blood. The ancient atmospheres molded our metabolism. One has only to contemplate the magnitude of this task to concede that the spontaneous generation of a living organism is impossible. Yet here we are as a result, I believe, of spontaneous generation. Evolution advances not by a priori design, but by the selection of what works best out of whatever choices offer. We are the products of editing rather than of authorship. There's life all over this universe, but the only life in the solar system is on Earth, and in the whole universe, we are the only men. Death seems to have been a rather late invention in evolution. One can go a long way in evolution before encountering an authentic corpse. Our business is with life, not death. We already know enough to begin to cope with all the major problems that are now threatening human life and much of the rest of life on Earth. Our crisis is not a crisis of information, it is a crisis of decision, of policy in action. The only use for an atomic bomb to keep somebody else from using one. It can give us no protection, only the doubtful satisfaction of retaliation. A scientist lives with all reality. There is nothing better to know. Reality is to accept it, and eventually to love it. It's not good enough to give it tender, loving care, to supply it with breakfast foods, to buy it expensive educations. Those things don't mean anything unless this generation has a future. And we're not sure that it does. About 2 million years ago, man appeared. He has become the dominant species on the earth. All other living things, animal and plant, live by his sufferance. He's the custodian of life on earth and in the solar system. It's a big responsibility. Not all living creatures die. An amoeba, for example, need never die. It need not even, like certain generals, fade away. It just divides and becomes to new amoebas,